Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about a simple but profound truth, and that is that giving and receiving is one. And if we truly understand this, then we're going to experience improved relationships that are more harmonious, increased energy, synchronicities are going to seem to work more to our favor, and an experience of more abundance in all aspects of our lives. Mitra, let's break this down because it's easy to overlook the nuances of what is meant by this idea. And to begin, we'll just set the stage by saying that Mitra and I believe that everything in the universe is connected. We adopt the view from quantum physics that says there's a unified field of consciousness and we're all contained in it, and everything affects everything. So, with that, Mitra, when we talk about giving and receiving, what do we mean?
Well, it depends on at what level we're talking about giving and receiving. If we're speaking about giving and receiving at the physical and material level, it's obvious. It's like what part of my resources I allocate to you as my friend, and what part of your resources you, Ben, allocate to me. So it's a very limited, if you like, exchange that we look at. And we know from experience that when we keep giving and not receiving, it doesn't feel right. And the other way around too. When I keep receiving and I just don't give without even knowing what the challenge is, it just doesn't feel, it feels clunky. It feels like something is missing. And it's the best place to start looking at this exchange of giving and receiving. So that's physical level. So do you have anything to say before we shift into energetic level?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate with what you're saying, and in the three-dimensional level in particular is when I think of it that way, and only in that way, is when I experience sometimes that feeling of being drained, like that experience of feeling like I'm giving something and it's draining me. It's actually taking something from me. That's what came to my mind when I heard you explaining that.
And also it's very transactional. It's very transactional. Somehow in my mind, I have an account open and I'm putting, on this side and that side, have I given? Have I received? And an expectation is forming in the background. And sometimes it's actually in the foreground. I'm very aware. I'm saying, and people say that, do you remember I called you twice? I invited you 3 times. I was there when you were going through this and that. So obviously I had an account open and I was taking a note and putting it there. And now I need something. I'm coming to you and I'm saying, hey, Ben, it's your time. Do you remember how I was there? Do you remember I called you? Do you remember I made time for you? Now, did you do it for me? So, and it's fine. I mean, there's no criticism, but it's a beautiful foundation to understand the energetic level of giving and receiving. The same way that it may not feel right in the material level of consciousness when I only give or when I only receive, or somehow give and receive in an imbalanced way. It's the same at the energetic level. And when I talk about energetic level, the giving and receiving could be at so many levels. It's not just at the physical level that I gave you my resources, my money or my time, but it's also at a different levels, which is like, it could be, what's going on in my mind, the thoughts that I have for you. It could be the words that I use when I speak to you. And it could be an action. It could be actually this thing that I bought for you or gave you, or all the time, all the things that exist in the material world. So its form is different. And there's another one which you mentioned, which is the fundamental difference between the physical and energetic exchange of giving and receiving. And that is the assumption of unity. The way it's different, when I don't feel that unity exists in a material world, I give you and I expect you to give me. But when I believe at the energetic level and I pay attention to the united field, as you called it rightly, then I know that all I need to do is to be giving and generous with anybody that is available to me. And then it will arrive in many other ways. It doesn't need to be from Ben Dadbin. It could be from any source, anytime, and especially anytime I need it, because we're all connected. It could be anybody except you, including you.
Yeah, I definitely have noticed times when I have given to someone, I've given my time, I've given resources, and there was an expectation that I receive it back from them, and that it needs to come back from them. And what I hear you saying is that, well, that's not how the universe operates. In From the universe's lens, it can come from anyone, anywhere. We just have to be open and receptive to it, because that person that we were giving to may or may not have the capacity to give back to us. But there is someone else out there, and there are other ways that that same energy that we were giving to that person will be available for us to receive. And it's on us to be open to receive that. And
Exactly.
when it comes knocking on our door, to receive it openly and not be like, no, that's not it. I need it to come from that person.
Yes.
And
Yes.
until it comes from that person, I'm not satisfied.
Yes. And receive it and notice it. That's also important. I may receive it because, I would love to receive, but I may not make the connection that this is where it's coming from. I remember many years ago when I lived in Toronto, there was a time that I was an immigrant and I had no job and I literally had to walk to another place to even get my resume typed. I didn't have a computer. And it was in the middle of winter. I never forget that. And it was so hard for me. And I got it done. I got a job and everything started to work out. And then I was in a position, I was head of a nonprofit organization that I was able to help others that were newcomers and were new to Toronto and to the world of, uh, job seeking. And I remember that I went out of my way to connect one of our participants to one of my corporate clients. This was another job that I used to do after hours, corporate clients, to get him a job. And I went out of my way. And I remember he made an appointment to come and see me. And he said, "What do you want? Why did you help me so much? Do you want something?" I said, "Oh, absolutely." He said, "I knew it." I said, "Yes, I want you when you are in a position," because he was a very, uh, senior person in his field. "When you're in a position, I want you to go out of your way to help someone else who is in need. It doesn't matter who it is, what background, why. Go out of your way to help them." He said, "Uh-huh." I said, "That's it." He said, "That's it?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "How would you know that I've done it?" I said, "Oh, I would know energetically." He said, "How?" I said, "You will ask that person the same thing. And then it becomes perpetual kindness for somebody that is random. I don't know you. I have no idea." And it was hard to explain it. This person had a very technical mind. And he said,
Mm.
"But don't you check and see if I've done it?" I said, "No, it's not my business to check. I'm not a, tax department to make sure you paid your taxes." But it's that idea. It's that idea that it will go and it will come back, and that's how this dance of exchange needs to take place. And I hope that as we're talking about this, our interview friends, can you find an example for yourself where you received or where you gave without really that idea of transactional sort of exchange that we have usually in the physical material world?
It's hard not to, right? Because for a lot of us, it's so strongly conditioned. Even love being transactional. Actually, love, I think, is one of the primary things that are transactional, right? Unconditional love is very hard, actually. But yeah, if we love someone, we're subtly expecting for them to love us back. Yeah, in so many aspects of my life, when I really observe, I see that part of me that is expecting a transaction. I am curious. I was thinking about the person. And I've been this person before who gives, and is drained. They actually give from let's say they're people who give from a very kind, loving place, right? They give their time, their energy. They might even be giving resources like their money, whatever it might be. And some people just feel drained, not replenished by that. Let's shine the light on what might be happening there, Mitra.
I would say, in a very general sense, probably they're not open to receiving. And giving also can become unhealthy. We think only being a taker kind of thing is a problem, but being only a giver and not open to be a receiver is also a challenge. The best way to understand life is just look at the body. I always think the physical world is summarized and beautifully explained in our physical body. Just think about the idea and the mechanics of breathing. What do I do when I breathe? I take in from the world, I let it go through me, and then I give back to the world. And imagine, as a taker, I'm just going, you see, this is
You run
not
out of
very,
space. Your
you go.
lungs. Yeah.
Or as a giver, I'm only going, how long can I sustain that? Is that sustainable? Is that healthy? Does that add to my well-being? Does that contribute to the world that I live in? And the answer is no. So that's, to me, that's a great point of reference. For this to be a healthy transaction, the receiving and giving, it needs to be open-ended at both ends. That I give and I'm open to receiving. The giving has been promoted a lot and encouraged in this world, but receiving has a bad name and a bad reputation, really bad PR around that. It's like, oh, you expecting to receive? It's like, yeah, I'm hoping to receive because I give. And as I said, it's probably they're not open to receiving, or they're not noticing that they're receiving in other ways, and they're holding an unconscious grudge around not receiving. What do you think it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, I mean, I resonate with that, and the visual that helps me really understand this is that I visualize myself as being like this hollow tube, let's say, like underwater, and whatever water goes through on one end has to come out the other end. There's
Yes.
no other way, right? But when I try and constrict one end of the tube, and I let some of the water to go through one end and not come through the other end, that I'm creating a pressure within me. I'm trying to control what comes in and out. And that's when I feel drained, depleted, or out of balance. And when I can trust that giving and receiving is a law of the universe. What I give, I have to receive, and to keep both ends open, and really visualize myself as being that hollow tube with both sides open, it really shifts things for me, particularly on the energetic front. What do you think about that visualization?
I think it's a very vivid image that is very helpful. Yes. If you're going against the current, if you like, of life and current of water, yes, there will be some issues. There will be clogging. There will be problems. And I like that visual that you created.
In the three-dimensional sense, things in 3D, when we give resources, when we give time, when we give our, physical energy, I've observed that three-dimensionally things can happen. Sometimes it's not instantaneous, right? We might energetically be receiving something instantaneously, but there could be a delay. Like you said, you gave that beautiful Persian poem. Effectively, it said that what I give now, when I need it, I'm going to receive it. At the time when I need it, it is received.
Yes. We did that
And
before the recording. So
yeah,
yes, it says تو خوبی میکن و در دجله انداز که ایزد در بیابانت دهد باز. It says you just do what you can, do your good deeds and throw them in the forest and in the greeneries of land, and you will receive it when you are stuck in the desert of life, and then you receive it. So it's a beautiful reminder that it doesn't need to come there and then, but it will come when you need it.
yeah. There's also the energetic aspect of it, which we've started to touch on, which is in the by way of thoughts and intentions that we hold. I really discovered the power of this more profoundly recently. For example, when I truly understand that everything given has to be received in order to keep things in balance within me, and I give thoughts to people I don't even know, to everyone, the thought of gentleness, the thought of peace of mind, just offering it to everyone, the thought of compassion, or the feeling, I should say, the feeling of compassion, that feeling of belonging. It's incredible how quickly I begin to experience and feel like I'm receiving those very things almost instantaneously and throughout the day. Do you have anything like that? Tell me about your experience on the energetic front when it comes to more of the feeling and the thought
Yeah.
aspect of it.
I think that's very powerful, actually. I often, prayer is that, and you don't need to
Hmm.
know the person. Prayer, meditation, including somebody in your awareness. I recall once I was waiting in a line, I believe was either a bank or I don't know, maybe post office, and something had gone wrong and was really, really angry, and they couldn't contain their anger. And I remember I just closed my eyes and held them in my awareness in like prayer, just like whatever it is. Obviously, it was something more than what was happening in the moment that was bothering this person. And I just said, whatever it is, may you have peace, may you resolve the issues, may you find your center. And it was, I get shivers when I talk about that. And the person calmed down and resolved the issue. And I was next, and I was going just by them. They were leaving and I was going to go to the counter, and they stopped and they said, thank you. And I just looked at them in horror. I said, for what? And they couldn't find the thing to say because I didn't do anything in outwardly. And they said, uh, I don't know. You just looked kind. And I know what it was. It wasn't that I looked kind. It was that I was holding them energetically. And it's really important to remember that we are energetic beings more than we're physical beings. And
Yeah.
it's just that this density and this physicality is so in our like face that it's hard to remember that we are energetic beings. So I call it energetic donation. Sometimes I'm driving on a road and I see an accident or I see a conflict happening. I'm not able to stop and help, but I just say, oh, may you resolve and dissolve whatever it is. May you arrive at your center and balance. And that's all I do. That's all. It's an energetic donation. Or you hear news. That's another thing. You look at the news, and in that moment, I'm not able to do anything more than that. And I just, and that's very powerful. Just imagine. I mean, now it's very interesting. Science is catching up with wisdom. Now there is science and research showing, I think if I'm not wrong, one was done at UCLA, showing that the power of prayer and how people who were prayed for and held in the awareness of a group, their recovery was faster and deeper. So there is energy, there is power in that. And if you truly can't do anything else, and even if you can, in that moment, there's that thing we can do. And that is to wish them well, to pray for them instead of to judge them. because usually where we go is that this person is being loud and angry and we don't like it. So we think, oh God, I can't believe how loud they are. And you can
Mm,
go to the other side and say, oh, may they find their center, may they find their way. Obviously, they're lost in their emotions, difficult
yeah.
emotions. So, can
You,
you
you know,
relate to
I
that?
I can. I did that for a while, but I was unaware of the fact that I was not receiving. For a while I would do that, and I would give to them, but I didn't necessarily feel replenished by the process, and I realized that some part of me subconsciously was blocking myself from receiving, for a variety of reasons. One was, I think there's this um, subconscious belief that I'm not worthy of receiving, or it's bad to receive because I'm taking
Ooh,
from someone else. I'm going to be taking from someone else or something else. I'm going to be draining them. I'm going to be draining them if I allow myself to receive from them. The subconscious belief that these are limited resources, that they're scarce, right? To give love or even gentleness, there's a scarce amount of it, and I need to manage how much of it I give. And if I'm giving it, then I'm taking it away from me. But I'm going to give it. You know what? It's okay. I'm going to sacrifice that mindset of sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice it from me, and I'm going to give it. These were all very subtle, subconscious things. The shift recently, very recently, for me, has been recognizing. Wait. No, these things are not scarce. Compassion, gentleness, love, kindness are infinite, and things are qualities of the universe that want to move through us. We're the vessel. And when I truly understand this, when I truly understand that I'm just the vessel through which it's coming in, it's moving out and coming in the other end, and that I am being replenished not because I want to be replenished, but it's the law of the universe. The law of the universe is to replenish me and to give me the very thing that am giving. It becomes like this compounding effect, right? I'm giving them kindness and love, recognizing that it's coming to me, and as it's coming to me, I'm feeling it more. And as I'm feeling it more, I want to give it more. And as I give it more, I receive more, and it becomes this incredible flywheel effect that I experience.
fascinating. So the laws of inner world, energetic world here is completely opposite of the laws of physical world. Because in the physical sense, if I have $100, if I gave you $60, I'll have $40. But in the energetic world, when I give, I actually, it's hard to fathom with the rational mind that it actually adds. The more love I give, the more love I have to give. The more kind I am, the more kind I can be. It's very interesting that it functions completely opposite. And that's why it's hard to fathom. And in fear, we are stuck in the third dimensional material world that I'm thinking I have limited love. And if I give it to Ben, then there won't be anything left for my children. There won't be anything left for my family members. But in energetic world, it works exactly opposite. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and taking it back to what we brought up at the beginning of the episode, which is how it impacts our relationships, experiencing more harmony in our relationships, increased energy and vitality, more synchronicity in our life. Hopefully, you can start to see how these areas in our life begin to benefit as we understand this principle and, importantly, allow ourselves to receive as we're giving. And Mitra, any closing thoughts that you'd like to share?
Just a gentle reminder that the unity and the field of our interconnectedness is very important that we remember, because then we give in a wider and more generous way, and we are more open to receiving in a wider and more expansive way. That makes this beautiful dance of giving and receiving far more interesting. And then when I give more expansively and I receive more expansively, then I have more to give. and then I enjoy more receiving. So just a gentle reminder for our interview friends to remember that as you're giving, because sometimes when we focus too much on the physical aspect of it, we only give to certain people that we want to receive from. But when I give in a more expansive way, it just doesn't matter. The first person that comes to my awareness, the first person that says hello to me, the first person that requests something, or I can see that they need help, I'm there to give. So it makes it very flowy and very spontaneous and far more effective and beautiful in my view.
Thank you, Mitra. We wish you all a beautiful rest of your weeks. Mitra, until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. For a list of the links and other resources referenced in this episode, check out the podcast description.
If you're benefiting from our podcast, we'd love if you could help us reach more people by subscribing. Your support means the world to us. From our hearts to yours, we thank you.